The celebration had been running for 6 hours straight when the sensors went crazy. Every screen in the Grand Assembly Hall flickered and died for 3 seconds before roaring back to life, with warnings nobody wanted to see. Ambassador Rolf's forearms froze mid-gesture as he was describing the Council's glorious 200 years of unbroken rule. The insectoid diplomat's compound eyes reflected the sudden chaos of red alert signals cascading across every display. Beside him, High Chancellor Brevik's massive crystalline fur dimmed from bright silver to worried gray. The bear-like Gorvian leader rose to his full 3-meter height and demanded answers that nobody seemed able to provide. Trade Minister Quillen's colorful plumage flattened against her small frame. The avian diplomat had seen enough crises to know when something truly dangerous was unfolding. She tapped her wrist communicator and received confirmation of what the sensors were screaming about. Something massive was decloaking right in front of Unity's crown station. Something that shouldn't exist according to every treaty and law the Council had ever written. Representatives from 47 species stopped their celebrations and turned toward the massive viewing windows that dominated the eastern wall. Space rippled like water disturbed by a stone. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist as whatever was hidden decided to reveal itself. The distortion grew larger and larger until it dwarfed even the largest Council dreadnought anyone had ever seen. Then the cloaking field collapsed entirely, and the universe snapped back into focus. What hung before them made several species gasp in languages the translators struggled to process. It was a warship. There was no other word for it. Sleek lines spoke of speed, while heavy armor plating promised durability. Weapon ports lined its hull in configurations that made Admiral Teshin's reptilian blood run cold. The ship's designation appeared on tactical displays across the station. HSS Reckoning. Human design. Origin Earth. Violation of every single restriction placed on that probationary species 20 years ago when they were granted observer status. Brevik's roar shook the assembly hall. He demanded immediate explanations from the human delegation. 3 minor diplomats in simple suits who looked just as shocked as everyone else. They stammered apologies and confusion. Clearly they knew nothing about this ship. Rolf's mandibles clicked in. Agitation as he pulled up the files on humanity. Primitive fusion drives, kinetic weapons, barely capable of faster-than-light travel. Yet here was a vessel that made Council engineers weep with envy just looking at the power signatures bleeding off its hull. This had to be stolen technology. There was no other explanation. Humans couldn't have developed this on their own. Not in 20 years. Not in 200. Quillen wasn't so sure. She had met humans before. They were clever in ways that made her nervous. Admiral Tezen dispatched 3 escort cruisers to surround the mysterious vessel. Standard protocol for unknown military craft. Hails went out on every frequency. Identify yourself. State your purpose. Prepare to be boarded. Silence answered them. The Reckoning just hung there in space like a predator, deciding whether its prey was worth the effort. Minutes crawled by. Tension built. Brevik ordered warning shots. Surely that would get a response. Tezen hesitated but followed. Orders. He was a soldier. Soldiers obeyed. The moment targeting locks activated on Council weapons, something changed. Every system failed simultaneously across all 3 cruisers. Targeting, navigation, communications, even basic helm control. The ships went dark, drifting, helpless. Then the Reckoning spoke. A single message flooded every channel on Unity's crown and the dead ships floating nearby. The voice was human. Female. Calm as someone ordering breakfast. You have 30 minutes to stand down your forces. Nothing more. No explanation. No negotiation. Just a simple countdown to consequences unknown. Brevik's laughter boomed through the assembly hall. He actually found this amusing. Humans threatening the Galactic Council. Primitives who barely understood quantum mechanics, making demands of species that had mastered star travel before Earth's sun was born. Rolf joined the laughter, though his was more nervous. He reminded everyone that human technology was generations behind. Council standards. This ship must be a desperate bluff. Stolen tech, scavenged parts, held together with hope and stupidity. Quillen asked a question nobody else wanted to consider. What if it wasn't a bluff? What if they were wrong about humans? What if those survey reports from 18 years ago had missed something crucial? Rolf dismissed her concerns. Impossible. They had been thorough. Humans were barely industrialized, still burning fossil fuels, still fighting each other over resources, no threat to anyone but themselves. The 30-minute timer appeared on every display. Counting down, 29 minutes, 28. Brevik ordered Tezhen to assemble a proper battle group. 15 ships, full combat readiness. Surround that vessel and prepare to take it by force. The admiral followed orders, though his tail twitched with concern. Something about this felt wrong, felt like a trap, but he was a soldier. Soldiers obeyed. 14 warships joined the 3 disabled. Cruisers, weapons charged, shields at maximum, crews ready for battle. They surrounded the Reckoning in a standard engagement pattern. Textbook tactics, the kind taught at every military academy across Council space. The human ship did nothing, just waited. Power signatures climbing, hull temperature rising, some kind of energy building inside that nobody's scanners could identify. 29 minutes passed. 1 minute remained. Tezhen gave the order he would regret for the rest of his life. Disable their engines and prepare boarding parties. All ships fire on my mark. Weapons trained on the Reckoning's drive section. Safeties disengaged. Fingers on triggers. The countdown hit 0. Tezhen marked. Weapons fired. In the instant before impact, the Reckoning's hull blazed with light. Brilliant, blinding, beautiful. Every incoming shot simply vanished, not deflected, not absorbed, just ceased to exist. Like reality itself, decided those weapons didn't belong. A new voice came over. Communications, older, male, carrying the weight of someone who had seen war and learned from it. You were warned. Now you'll learn. The Reckoning's weapon ports opened. Hundreds of them. Far more than any ship that size should carry. What happened next took 47 seconds. Surgical precision was the only way to describe what the Reckoning did to 15 Council warships. Beams of concentrated energy lanced out with impossible accuracy. Each shot targeted propulsion systems, weapons arrays, shield generators. Nothing else. Crew compartments remained untouched. Life support stayed active. The engagement lasted exactly 47 seconds. When it ended, every Council vessel floated dead in space. Powerless, helpless, utterly defeated. Not a single casualty. That was the part that terrified them most. Admiral Tezhen stared at his dark bridge screens. Emergency lighting cast his reptilian features in red shadows. His crew sat in shocked silence. They had just witnessed something that shouldn't be possible. His flagship was the most advanced vessel in the Council fleet, yet it had been swatted aside like an insect, without effort, without mercy, with frightening control that spoke of capabilities nobody had imagined. He tried to contact Unity's crown, but communications were fried. Inside the Grand Assembly Hall, panic spread like fire. Representatives shouted in dozens of languages, some demanding explanations, others calling for immediate surrender, a few suggesting full retreat from this entire sector of space. High Chancellor Brevik stood frozen, his crystalline fur flickering between colors as his emotional control shattered. Trade Minister Quillen was already trying to establish diplomatic channels with the human ship. Rolf's 4 arms gestured wildly as he insisted this changed nothing. Council superiority was absolute. Then something unexpected happened. The Reckoning went silent, completely silent. No communications, no threats, no demands. It just hung there in space surrounded by disabled ships. Waiting, the silence was worse than any threat. It gave everyone time to think, time to realize how badly they had miscalculated, time to understand that everything they believed about humanity was dangerously wrong. An hour passed. Before a small shuttle launched from the Reckoning, single occupant aboard, unarmed according to scans, requesting permission to dock with Unity's crown. Brevik wanted to refuse, wanted to deny entry, wanted to pretend this wasn't happening. Quillen overrode him. They needed to understand what they were dealing with. Refusing to talk would only make things worse. The assembly voted, permission granted, The shuttle docked. Captain Diane Reeves walked into the Grand Assembly Hall like she owned it. Mid-50s, gray hair pulled back in a simple tie. Weathered face, carrying lines of experience. Calm eyes that had seen things these politicians couldn't imagine. Her uniform was plain, minimal decoration, no weapons visible. She moved with the confidence of someone who knew exactly how powerful her ship was and felt no need to prove it. 47 species watched her approach. None dared speak first. Brevik broke the silence with accusations, violations of council law, illegal military vessel, unprovoked attack on peacekeeping forces, demands for explanations, threats of sanctions and punishment. Reeves listened patiently, hands clasped behind her back. Expression neutral. She said nothing. Just let him rant. Rolf joined in, insisting humans must have stolen the technology. No other explanation made sense. Where did you get it? Who helped you? Confess your crimes. Reeves finally spoke. Her voice carried across the hall without shouting. We didn't steal anything. We built it. Laughter erupted from several delegations. Impossible. Absurd. Ridiculous. Tezhen had managed to shuttle over from his disabled flagship. He was the one who asked the important question. Your species couldn't develop that in 20 years. We know your capabilities. We surveyed your world. Your primitives? Reeves smiled. It wasn't a friendly expression. When exactly did you perform your last survey of Earth? Quillen checked the records. 18 years ago. Standard probationary check-in. Reeves nodded. Slowly. And what did your survey team report? Rolf read from the file. Primitive industrial civilization. Fossil fuels. Basic satellites. Nuclear weapons. No space presence beyond your moon. No threat potential. Standard classification for developing species. That's what we wanted you to see, Reeves said quietly. The assembly hall went silent. She continued. When the Council first contacted Earth 20 years ago, humanity had a choice to make. We studied your laws, your treaties, your history. We learned how you treat probationary species. We saw what happened to the ones who showed too much promise. The Halori, the Krevesh, the Tauren, all of them uplifted, all of them enslaved, given just enough technology to be useful, not enough to be free. Brevik started to object, but Reeves cut him off with a gesture. So we made a collective decision. Every government on Earth, every nation, every alliance. We agreed to hide our true capabilities, to show you exactly what you wanted to see. Primitives struggling with basic technology, no threat, no value beyond eventual exploitation. And while you believe that lie, we built. For 20 years, humanity developed in secret. Underground shipyards on the Moon and Mars. Research stations in the asteroid belt and beyond. We couldn't let your surveys detect them. So we built them deep, hidden, shielded, quantum communication networks you can't intercept. Power generation based on principles your physics hasn't discovered yet. Materials. Science that makes your best armor look like paper. All of it developed behind a mask of primitive struggle. Tezhen asked the question everyone wanted answered. How many ships? Reeves tapped her wrist communicator. A holographic display erupted in the center of the assembly hall. Real-time feed from Earth's solar system. The gasps echoed in multiple languages. 200 warships like the Reckoning, all fully operational. Orbital defense platforms around Earth. Mars, Europa, Titan, industrial. Capacity that rivaled the entire council combined. 20 years of secret work revealed in one image. The shock rippled through the assembly. Quillen's plumage went pale. Rolf's mandibles clicked nervously. Brevik's fur dimmed to almost black. Species that thought themselves superior suddenly confronted with the reality of their ignorance. Reeves let them absorb it. Let the truth sink in deep. We're not here to conquer. Reeves stated clearly. We're here to renegotiate. Humanity wants full sovereign status. Control over our own space within 10 light years of Sol. Equal vote in council decisions. And one more thing. She paused, letting tension build. We know about the fringe colonies. The assembly went absolutely silent. Reeves continued. The species you've uplifted and exploited. The ones you hide from official records. 23 civilizations enslaved under the guise of development. We know where they are. We know what you've done to them. We want them freed. Full sovereignty. Reparations. You have one standard cycle to comply. Brevik exploded. You dare threaten the council. Reeves turned to leave. That wasn't a threat. Threats imply uncertainty about consequences. She paused at the door. By the way, the Reckoning isn't our biggest ship. Just our oldest. She walked out. The doors closed behind her. Chaos erupted. Tezhen stared at the holographic display, still showing Earth's hidden fleet. He whispered to nobody in particular. What have we awakened? 6 hours after Reeves departed, the emergency session began. Every delegate present, every species represented, fear and anger mixing in equal measure throughout the Grand Assembly Hall. High Chancellor Brevik tried to maintain control, but his authority was crumbling. News of the encounter had spread through diplomatic channels faster than light itself. Some species were terrified. Others saw opportunity in the chaos. The old order was fracturing. 3 factions emerged within minutes. Brevik led those demanding immediate military response. Humanity must be crushed before this rebellion inspired others. Trade Minister Quillen commanded the peace faction. Compliance with human demands was the only logical path. Ambassador Rolf sat silently with his supporters, watching, calculating, planning something the others couldn't see. The Vornathi diplomats' compound eyes missed nothing. Brevik pounded the podium with massive fists, his crystalline fur blazing red with rage. 200 ships. He roared, impossible to build without our knowledge. They're bluffing. They must be. Admiral Tezhen provided military assessment. Even if true, the Council has 10,000 warships across member species. Numerical superiority. He proposed full mobilization and blockade of Sol System. Crush this rebellion before it spreads. Several militant species voiced support. War drums beating. Quillen countered with cold logic. They disabled 15 ships in 47 seconds without casualties. That level of precision suggests capability we can't match. Trade Minister Hollis agreed. The mammalian diplomat showed economic projections. War with humanity could destabilize the entire Council economy. Several industrial worlds depended on trade routes near human space. The peace faction suggested accepting the demands, survival over pride. Then Rolf finally spoke, his 4 arms gesturing slowly. The fringe colonies issue is more complicated than it appears. He revealed what most didn't know. 23 probationary species under hidden exploitation. Their resources funded significant portions of Council operations. Freeing them would cause economic collapse for 12 major worlds. This isn't about pride. It's about survival. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly. Aboard the Reckoning, Captain Reeves monitored Council communications. Humanity's intelligence network was extensive. Quantum listening posts scattered throughout Council space. Undetectable by their technology. She spoke with Admiral Rodriguez on Secure Channel. Earth Fleet Commander. Grizzled veteran with scars from old battles. They're fracturing just as predicted. He noted, Brevik will push for war. Reeves confirmed. We need to be ready for the next phase. While the Council debated, 3 more human ships decloaked across Council space. HSS Defiance appeared near the Gorvian homeworld, hanging in orbit like a silent threat. HSS Horizon materialized near the Vornathi industrial hub. Their largest shipyard, HSS Sentinel uncloaked at the Council's primary military construction facility. All 3 ships just waited. Visible, present. Message clear. We can reach anywhere you care about. No place is safe. Reports flooded into the assembly hall. Member species whose worlds were being visited demanded immediate action. Some wanted compliance with human terms. Others demanded military response. Brevik lost control of the chamber. Shouting matches erupted. Quillen tried to restore order. But chaos reigned. The Council that had ruled for 2 centuries was tearing itself apart. An unexpected transmission interrupted the chaos. Broadcast from one of the hidden fringe colonies, the Halori, amphibian species with 4 legs and large expressive eyes. Their colony leader Mina spoke in broken Council standard. We know humans are listening. We ask for their help. She described conditions. Forced labor and resource extraction. No freedoms. No rights. Council promises uplift. Council delivers chains. 40 years of suffering laid bare. The Reckoning broadcast Mina's plea across all council channels. Reeves added her own message. This is why we remain. This is what ends now. She revealed human ships were already en route to fringe colony locations. Not to conquer, to liberate. Any council forces that interfere will be removed. Any that stand aside will be unharmed. Choose wisely. Brevik made his fatal error. Desperation driving him to stupidity. He ordered Tezhen to dispatch a battle group. 50 ships. Destination: Fringe Colony Theta 7. The Halori homeworld. Make an example. Show the council we're still in control. Tezhen hesitated, his tail twitching with concern. But orders were orders. He was a soldier. Soldiers obeyed. The task force mobilized. 14 hours to target. Reeves received intelligence about the battle group. Rodriguez asked, "Do we engage?" She shook her head. "No, we let them come. But we make sure everyone watches what happens." She ordered the Reckoning to broadcast everything on open channels. The whole galaxy needs to see this. Needs to understand what we really are, back on Unity's crown. Quillen confronted Brevik privately. "We're going to start a war we can't win." The High Chancellor's fur flickered with uncertainty. "We can't show weakness. The Council would collapse." Quillen revealed her cards. Several species have already sent secret delegations to speak with humans. They want out. They want what the fringe colonies are getting. Freedom. Brevik's world was crumbling around him. In private quarters, Rolf communicated with someone off-screen. Shadows hiding the contact's features. The humans are a problem, but also an opportunity. He had been planning a coup for years. Let Brevik and the humans destroy each other. In the chaos, we take control. The unknown voice responded. The shadows are ready. Proceed as planned. Rolf's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. 3 plot threads converging. Council battle group approaching. Halori homeworld. Quillen organizing a peace faction rebellion. Rolf preparing his mysterious shadow operation. 14 hours until everything exploded. Reeves watched tactical displays. Every human ship moving into position. Dozens of warships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Surrounding target zones. Waiting, she opened communications with all human vessels. Time to show them what humanity really is. Not conquerors, not destroyers. Something the galaxy hasn't seen in a long time. Protectors, defenders of the weak, champions of the oppressed. We didn't come here for territory. We came for justice. Admiral Rodriguez confirmed fleet positions. Every ship ready. Every crew prepared. 17 vessels at Theta 7. Similar numbers at 22 other fringe colonies. Simultaneous liberation. Coordinated perfectly. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was conviction. Reeves stared at the countdown. 13 hours. 52 minutes. She thought about all the species suffering under council exploitation. All the beings who had given up hope. All the civilizations crushed under the weight of false promises. No more. Not on humanity's watch. Let's give them something to believe in. Fringe Colony Theta 7 orbited a blue-green world scarred by strip mining. For billion Halori lived under council oversight. Their beautiful planet transformed into a resource extraction facility. Orbital stations processed minerals. Council garrison of 12 ships maintained order. They weren't expecting trouble. 14 hours ago, that changed. Admiral Teshin's battle group dropped out of faster-than-light travel. 50 warships in full combat formation. The garrison commander Pelos nearly fell out of his command chair. The nervous Vornathi officer tried to understand why a fleet was at his backwater posting. "Admiral, we received no notice of military exercises." Teshin's voice was grim. "We're here to intercept human forces. Have you detected any?" Pelos checked his sensors. "No, sir. All clear." "Wait." His mandibles clicked in confusion. 17 massive energy signatures just appeared. They were already there, surrounding the entire planet, cloaked, invisible, waiting. HSS. Liberation led the formation, largest ship present. Her captain was Owen Briggs, former Marine turned fleet commander. Tactical genius with a reputation for achieving objectives without unnecessary casualties. Briggs opened channels to both Council forces and the planet below. This world is now under human protection. Council forces will withdraw immediately. His voice carried absolute certainty. No room for negotiation. Tezhen faced an impossible choice. 62 Council ships versus 17 human vessels. Numerical superiority should mean victory. But he had watched what one human ship did to 15 of his best. His crew was terrified. He could feel their fear. Briggs gave him 5 minutes to decide. Tezhen contacted Unity's crown for orders. Brevik's voice came through, screaming, demanding, "You have superior numbers. Destroy them. Show the Council we're still in control." Quillen's voice cut in. "This is madness. Order the withdrawal. Save your people." The split was public now. The Council tearing itself apart over open channels. Every being in the galaxy with access to communications watched. Billions witnessing this moment. The Halori on the surface watched. Mina addressed her people through every channel available. "This is our chance. Stay calm. Trust the humans." In the assembly hall, representatives sat frozen, watching their entire system collapse in real time. Tezhen made his choice. Against direct orders, against 2 centuries of tradition, he chose his crew over his pride. "All ships, stand down and withdraw to safe distance. I will not sacrifice my people for politics." His fleet began backing away. Brevik's screams echoed through communications. Threats of court-martial. Promises of execution. Tezhen cut the channel. "Let history judge me." With Council forces withdrawing, Briggs proceeded. Human Marines deployed to orbital stations. Not destroying, securing, transferring control. Halori workers expected violence, expected conquest. Instead, they found human soldiers who were gentle, professional, respectful. "We're here to help. You're free now." Station by station, control transferred from Council to Halori representatives. Garrison Commander Pelos realized his position was hopeless. 12 ships couldn't fight 17 human warships. Couldn't fight his own conscience anymore. He surrendered without firing a shot. Briggs allowed Council personnel to evacuate peacefully. "Take your weapons and leave. You're not our enemies unless you choose to be." Pelos was stunned by the mercy. Council forces never showed restraint. Word spread across the planet's surface. Council forces were leaving. 40 years of occupation ending. Halori cities erupted in celebration. Mina broadcast from the capital. "We are free. Thanks to the humans. We are free." Human supply ships began landing. Food, medicine, construction materials, technology to repair the damage. Not conquerors bringing chains. Liberators bringing hope. Briggs met Mina in person. The human captain towered over the small amphibian leader. "Your world is yours again. We're just here to make sure it stays that way." Mina's large eyes glistened. "Why? Why do this for strangers?" Briggs smiled. "Because someone should have done it 40 years ago. Better late than never." What happened at Theta 7 was happening across Council space, simultaneously, perfectly coordinated. 15 other fringe colonies experiencing liberation. Human ships appearing, Council garrisons surrendering or fleeing. Not a single shot fired in most cases. The operation was peaceful, organized, overwhelming. Species enslaved for decades suddenly free. Back at Unity's crown, chaos reigned. 6-member species declared withdrawal from the Council. "If we can't protect our own garrisons, what's the point?" Brevik was stripped of emergency powers by vote. Quillen took temporary control of the assembly. Her first act: recognize human sovereignty. Second act: begin negotiations for fringe colony independence. The old order was dead, but Rolf saw opportunity in chaos. While everyone focused on humans, he activated his secret weapon, the Shadows, 80 unmarked warships with stolen advanced technology. His hidden ace, maintained for years waiting for this moment. He ordered them to attack human positions at 3 fringe colonies. Make it look like humans fired first. Create an incident. Reignite the war. The Shadow fleet attacked, but humans were expecting this. Admiral Rodriguez revealed Earth's Intelligence Network had tracked the shadows for months. We know who you are, who you work for, where you're based. Human response was swift and brutal. Shadow Fleet destroyed in minutes, survivors captured, including their Admiral Krent, who immediately identified Rolf as the one who hired them. Evidence of Rolf's conspiracy broadcast to the Council, not just the Shadow Fleet. Years of corruption, embezzlement, assassinations, illegal weapons trade. The Vornathi counselor's schemes exposed. Quillen ordered immediate arrest. Rolf tried to flee, captured by his own security team. I was trying to save the Council. He protested. Quillen's response was cold. You were trying to save yourself. There's a difference. With Rolf arrested and Brevik disgraced, Quillen reached out to Reeves. What happens now? The human captain returned to Unity's crown, bringing representatives from all 23 freed fringe colonies. They stood together in the assembly hall. Former slaves, now free beings. Reeves addressed the Council. We didn't come to destroy you. We came to fix you. Humanity proposed complete restructuring. Every species equal representation. No more probationary status. No more hidden exploitation. Shared technology development. Mutual defense based on consent, not coercion. Humans would help enforce it. Quillen looked at the freed species, at Reeves, at the Shattered Council. This is the end of everything we were. Reeves nodded. And the beginning of what you could be. The vote was called on the new proposal. Hands began to rise. The vote passed. 39 species in favor, 5 against, 3 abstaining. The old Galactic Council dissolved, replaced by the Sovereign Assembly where every species stood equal. Quillen was elected first speaker, a rotating position, no more permanent power. Her first decree. Formal apology to all fringe species, reparations beginning immediately. Applause erupted from freed species. Bitter silence from Old Guard representatives. Former High Chancellor Brevik faced public trial, charged with illegal military action, endangering Council forces, abuse of power. Admiral Tezen testified against him. He ordered me to sacrifice my fleet for his ego. Brevik showed no remorse. I was protecting our way of life. Quillen's response cut deep. Our way of life was built on suffering. It deserved to end. Sentence was exile to a remote colony world, stripped of all titles, as guards led him away. He locked eyes with Reeves. You've destroyed us. She replied quietly. No, we saved you from yourselves. Reconstruction began across the galaxy. 6 months of transformation. Fringe colonies receiving aid from combined human assembly efforts. The Halori rebuilding their world with shared technology. Former Garrison Commander Pellos returned to Theta 7 as ambassador. Working with Mina to establish trade relationships. I was a jailer. Now, I'd like to be a friend. She accepted cautiously, but with growing trust. Earth and its colonies gained full sovereignty. Human space recognized as independent. But humanity chose to join the new Sovereign Assembly as equal members. Captain Diane Reeves promoted to Assembly Military Coordinator, working alongside Tezen, who received clemency for his final choice. Together they restructured defense forces. Focus on protection, not conquest. The former enemies became partners. The Reckoning received new assignment. Converted to exploration and first contact vessel. Reeves took permanent command. Crew was mixed. Humans, Halori, Gorvians, even. Reform Vornathi working together. Mission, seek out isolated species. Offer choice, not domination. We find them before the next empire does. Reeves explained to her diverse crew. Freedom is a right, not a privilege to be granted. Quillen and Reeves developed genuine partnership, meeting regularly to mediate assembly disputes. The avian diplomat admitted, I was terrified of you when we first met. Reeves smiled. That was the point. Fear gets attention. Respect builds alliances. Together they became symbols of the new era. Different species, different backgrounds, united purpose. Tezen found redemption training next-generation defenders, teaching them. Technology wins battles. Wisdom wins wars. Compassion wins peace. His academy included students from 30 species. Most decorated student was young Jorn, a Halori saved from the mines as a child. now training to protect others. You represent what we're fighting for, Tezin told him. Investigation into Rolf's shadow fleet revealed. Deeper conspiracy. The mercenaries were funded by someone beyond Rolf. Unknown entity profiting from galactic instability. Admiral Rodriguez briefed the assembly. Rolf was a pawn. Someone else is playing a longer game. Evidence pointed to regions beyond charted space. Reeves volunteered the Reckoning to investigate. We've dealt with threats from within. Let's see what's waiting outside. Mina transformed from slave to powerful voice, representing all former fringe species, advocating for undiscovered civilizations, forming alliance with human explorers, joint missions to find and genuinely uplift primitive species. Her people went from enslaved to liberators. We remember what chains feel like. We'll make sure others don't have to. Her words inspired assembly action. The new system faced its first crisis. Two-member species on brink of war. Ancient rivals disputing border worlds. Old Council would have 4 solutions. New assembly required consensus. Quillen brought both sides. Together, Reeves offered human mediation. No stake in outcome. Solution found. Shared governance of disputed zone. Both species agreed reluctantly, but peacefully, proving the system could work. 1 year after the Reckoning's decloaking, anniversary ceremony at Sovereign Station. Representatives from 70 species gathered, 23 former fringe colonies now full members. Humans unveil monument to the courage to change, featuring silhouettes of all species working together at center. The Reckoning frozen in moment of decloaking. Inscription read, "They came in warships but brought peace." After ceremony, Reeves stood alone watching stars. Rodriguez joined her. "Any regrets about how we did this?" She considered. "We held a gun to their head to force peace. Not exactly noble." He nodded. "But it worked. Look at what they're building now," she replied. "The question is whether it lasts. That's up to them. We just gave them the chance. Our job continues. Protect that chance." Deep space. Beyond the galactic rim, unknown vessels moved in formation. Advanced technology, aggressive design, bridge of lead ship. Alien commander reviewed data. The Sovereign Assembly. How quaint. They think they've achieved peace. Prepare the fleet. Let's show them real power. Communication officer hesitated. "Sir, they have the humans now. Intelligence says, Commander, cut him off. I don't care about one species. We've conquered 1,000. Begin the approach. This galaxy is ours." Warning alarms blared. At Sovereign Station, long-range sensors detected massive fleet approaching from unknown space. Quillen contacted Reeves immediately. "We have a situation. The captain was already moving. I'll get the Reckoning ready." Tezin mobilized assembly defense forces. Mina rallied the Halori fleet. Yes, they built one. Across the assembly, former enemies prepare to fight together. Rodriguez delivered intelligence brief. New threat. Unknown origin. Hostile intent. Thousands of ships. Technology comparable to Council standard, but they hadn't faced humans yet. Quillen addressed full assembly. "We've built something worth defending. Are we ready?" Unanimous response from 70 species. "We stand together." The words echoed through chambers. Reeves on the Reckoning's bridge. Mixed crew at stations. Human. Halori. Gorvian. Vernathi. Working as one. She thought back to that moment 1 year ago, when they decloaked and changed everything. Now they face the unknown together. All hands to battle stations. Let's show the galaxy what unity looks like. The Reckoning's engines flared to life, joined by hundreds of ships from dozens of species. Greatest fleet ever assembled. Not for conquest, for survival. Reeves spoke final words. "The old council ruled through fear. We'll defend through hope. That's the difference. That's why we'll win." The fleet charged toward unknown threat, ready to prove that trust was worth fighting for.